And so the point I make, point I will make, one nation, dare I say Australia, you need enough one nation senators in the upper house and one nation lower house members so that we do have the balance of power. And if Albanese is returned in a minority government with Green support, which he will take, despite the fact he's promised he wouldn't, what's a promise between Albanese and remaining in power, then one nation senators will put a chokehold on every piece of divisive, destructive legislation that Labor, Albanese, Greens government will try to push through. We will stop it, but we need the numbers in the Senate. And then if Dutton is asked to form government and is able to do so, with or without the support of some Teals, perhaps with the support of one nation lower house members, again, we in the Senate will put political spine into him, we'll put political courage into him, and we'll put political integrity into the Liberal Party. I think Peter Dutton could be a strong Prime Minister. I think he squibbed it, as you said, when he was asked about net zero and the 82% renewables in Paris. And I even understand he squibbed it on immigration, a question on immigration.
Yes.
And so we won't let him squib it. One nation will not let him squib it. And we want a strong Conservative government. We are not against change. It's got to be incremental so it can be tested. If it's not working, we can pull back quickly. Labor, the Greens, from Whitlam onwards, I will exclude Hawke and to a certain degree Keating, but they went for revolutionary change, and suddenly it's in place, it's embedded, and it's very, very difficult to come back from that.
I'm a big supporter of one nation across the country, and all the freedom parties that are running for the Senate to secure that balance of power together, and it's great to see them collaborating in the Senate when they all get in, but no one's getting the balance of power unless Pocock unless a Liberal gets up in the ACT. That's the big problem we've got. My latest data I've got on the ACT is basically there's a chance that Pocock actually gets the first Senate spot, and maybe Labor misses out and the Liberals actually get it, because Pocock sort of cannibalised the Labor vote so much, and a lot of people are regretful that they voted for Pocock. They're going to go back to the Libs, but they won't
vote Pocock out.
They might put Pocock first, and then Labor will miss out, and then the Libs get in. But again, the Libs aren't in a very good spot. I fought the territory election for the ACT last year. They had one in September, October, and the big problem is Zed Sezelja, who used to be the Liberal, he was a good Liberal senator for the ACT. When they had their last territory election, he raised $1 million for them, but for this territory election, they only raised $100,000. So they're 10 times down. He's not there anymore, I understand. And the situation is that the Libs in the ACT are not as strong as they used to. And the problem is, again, this is not about the Libs. We want to see freedom parties get up like one nation in the Senate and hold the balance of power. But if we can't neutralise the ACT, if we can't get the Libs, who are the only ones that can win in the ACT, a spot, then it won't count. And the other aspect is we've got Lambie, and we need one nation to beat Jackie Lambie for the 6th Senate spot in Tasmania. Because those two, they held the balance of power the last 3 years. All these bills to do with, under 16s, ban on social media, and these other crazy bills for about climate change, that's coming from those two giving Albanese supply. And so that's just my strategic sort of worry with regards to the Senate. But as much as possible, of course, we want to push hard in the other states.
Well, it's going to be very difficult in the ACT, because if you look at the Voice campaign and the voting there, I mean, the ACT was completely out of kilter with the rest of Australia, and 60-40 in the rest of Australia, and I think it was 80%. Against, and so it will be very difficult for a Liberal to get there. But also the thing I ask is what kind of Liberal, because I think there are many David Flint calls linos, Liberals in name only, in the party, and so we need strong Liberals as opposed to those who would probably feel more comfortable in the Labor Party. But also what I found fascinating when I saw it was the Teals have supported the Greens in Parliament, more than 70%. Each one of them, I think the highest was 80% for, I think even Allegra Spender,
Right.
80% support for the Teals. But all of them have voted with the Greens. All of them have voted over 70% with the Greens. So that tells you where their political, social, cultural, where they're coming from, and whether Dutton can. I understand some Teals have said that they'd be happy to work with Dutton. Quite how they manage that. I mean,
The fine print.
yes, Peter Dutton, if you're watching, One Nation will be happy to work with you.
Sure.
But we need the numbers in the lower house and in the Senate in order to work constructively for Australia and Australians.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, I am going to be getting some of the most winnable seats in the country for the freedom movement from the Hunter, Stuart Bonds. I'm
Yes,
heavily
very
backing.
good. Our very good candidate. Stuart
Absolutely.
Bonds.
Stuart could win that seat. You know.
Arnon Wither in Patterson is also an excellent candidate.
Absolutely. Those two seats are marginally held by Labor. Arnon holds that Labor holds his seat, Spence, by 3%, two-party preferred, and the Hunter is 4%, with Labor holding that. But both seats voted 70% no. So it tells you that they're a sleeper. These cells,
and a lot of them are involved in the coal industry. So how a Labor candidate or even a Greens candidate can expect support in under those circumstances is beyond my comprehension. We're destroying JERA, the Japanese buyers of our liquid natural gas.
Yep.
Have already put the gas industry on notice. They may go elsewhere, and the reason for that is because they're concerned about the potential for industrial action, strikes in the industry. They're also concerned about approval delays, and then they're also concerned about the retrospective application of the safeguard mechanism by Albanese. So again, it's just a perfect example of government interference in an industry. They wreck it, and then they bring in further fixes, which in fact make it worse.
Yeah.
I liken it to the government laying about with an axe, creating axe wounds, which they then put a Band-Aid on. When they realise that's not working, they put a tourniquet on. They don't take the tourniquet off, so gangrene sets in. So they've completely destroyed industries, or they've weakened industries. They then put in a fix that weakens them further. There are unintended consequences again because they're not looking at what those unintended consequences might be. And so, and again, with this absurd push to stopping coal mining and coal exports, gas drilling and gas exports, where do the Greens think the money is going to come from?
Yes.
Where do the Green supporters think the money is going to come from to pay for Medicare, to pay for education, to pay for health, and so on? Well, I mean, we've got $3 billion worth of savings we can find in Medicare, with Medicare fraud, PBS fraud. NDS, we will find, we're actually projected $20 billion worth of savings. I heard when the NDIS started, and again, it's the Labor Party. So this was like a death throw project by Julia Gillard. Do you remember she sobbed a little bit in Parliament when she said she's setting this up 3 or 4 weeks before she had to call the election? Yeah. Or in fact, before she was booted by. Anyway, she said, and my thought was, she's a little cry, a little sob, her lip quivering. This is going to the people who deserve it. Why didn't you do it when you started if it was so important? Yeah. Why are you doing it now? And of course, it's an election ploy. But there are about 400,000 who were assessed as being on the program. Today, there are over 600,000. And I heard the minister in charge, the Labor minister in charge, saying there are probably 5 million. 20% of our population will be eligible to go on the NDIS.
Bill Shorten is the minister.
Oh, he's done a runner.
Yeah, he has. Oh, yeah, 100%.
He's done a runner.
Sure.
Gone to become chancellor of a university. Yep.
Yeah, he said I don't want to be paid too much because they were offering him 1.1 mil, so he reduced it to 900,000.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Yeah, the selflessness is palpable.